Such was its splendor, its majesty, its strength. People offered fabulous prices for the steed, but the old man always refused. This horse is not a horse to me, he would tell them. It's a person. How can you sell a person? He's a friend, not a possession. How can you sell a friend? The man was torn. The temptation was great, but he never sold the horse. One morning, he found that the horse was not in the stable. All the village came to see him. "You old fool," they scoffed. "We told you that someone would steal your horse. We warned you that you would be robbed. You were so poor. How could you ever hope to protect such a valuable animal? It would have been better to have sold him. You could have gotten whatever the price, anything you wanted. Now the horse is gone, and you've been cursed with misfortune." The old man responded, "Don't speak too quickly. Say only that the horse is not in the stable. That's all we know. The rest is judgment. If I've been cursed or not, how can you know? How can you judge?" The people of the village laughed. They thought the man was crazy. They always thought he was a fool. If he wasn't, he would have sold the horse and lived off of all that money. After 15 days, the horse returned. He hadn't been stolen. He'd run away into the forest. Not only had he returned, but he brought a dozen wild horses back with him. And once again, the village people gathered around the woodcutter and they spoke. "Oh, man, you were right and we were wrong. What we thought was a curse was a blessing. Please forgive us." The man responded, "Once again, you go too far. Say only that the horse is back. State only that a dozen horses returned with him, but don't judge. How do you know if this is a blessing or not? You see only a fragment. Unless you know the whole story, how can you judge? No one knows. I'm content with what I know." "Maybe the old man is right," they said to one another. So they didn't say much, but deep down they knew he was wrong. They knew it was a blessing. 12 wild horses had returned with one horse, and with a little bit of work, the animals could be broken and trained and sold for much, much money. Now the old man had a son, an only son. The young man began to break the wild horses, and after a few days, he fell from one of the horses and he broke both legs. Once again, the villagers gathered around the old man and cast their judgments. "You were right," they said. "You proved you were right. The dozen horses were not a blessing. You were cursed. Your only son has broken his legs, and now in your old age you'll have no one to help you. Now you are poorer than ever." The old man spoke again. "You people are obsessed with judging. Don't go so far. Say only that my son broke his legs. Who knows if it's a blessing or a curse? No one knows. We have only a fragment. Life comes in fragments." It so happened that a few weeks later, the country became engaged in a war with a neighboring country. And all of the young men of the village were required to join the army. And only the son of the old man was excluded because he was injured. Once again, people gathered around the old man, crying and weeping because their sons had been taken. And there was little chance that they would return. Their enemy was strong. The war would be long. They may never see their sons again. "You were right, old man," they went. "God knows you were right. This proves it. Your son's accident was a blessing. His legs may be broken, but at least he is with you. Our sons are gone forever." The old man spoke again. "It's impossible to talk with you. You always draw conclusions. No one knows. Say only this. Your sons had to go to war, and I did not. No one knows if it's a blessing or a curse. No one is wise enough to know. Only God knows. So, how easy it is for us to jump to conclusions in our lives, isn't it? And yet none of us really knows the end from the beginning. Who can see the end of our pathway in life? I want to look at another story with you this morning. I want to look at Joseph's story from our reading in Genesis, because his life testifies to this truth and to some things that are very real for all of us. And one is that the future is not ours to control. We don't control it. And the second thing is that only hindsight is 20/20. Only in looking back where we've been can we see and understand. And finally, that God is sovereign over all of this. Our reading from Genesis 45 speaks about these truths. It is the story of Joseph. And it is a story that teaches the future is not ours to control. If you read Joseph's life, he had been a roller coaster ride from the very beginning. His family was a seething cauldron of dysfunctionality. By the time Joseph was 9 years old, he had been uprooted 4 times. His family had to secretly escape from Uncle Laban in Padan Aram. The family suffered the rape of their sister Dinah in a Canaanite village, and then the murderous rampage that followed on his older brothers. So they then had to flee from Canaan after that debacle. He lost his beloved nanny in a city called Bethel, and not too long after that his mother died while giving birth to his younger brother Benjamin. And they finally ended up in Hebron just in time to experience the death of his aged grandfather Isaac. All these terrible things happened to Joseph between the ages of 7 and 9. One of the most formative periods in a child's life. Joseph was just a child. He could not control the events that carried him along. Neither could his parents or the adults around him. The fact is that none of us can control the future. We can plan for it. We can strategize and prepare, but we can't control it. When you go on a long journey, you try to take care of as many details in advance as possible, but it's a bit like riding an inner tube down a river. I've never done that before. Once you start down the river, the current takes over. It takes your path, and you're just along for the ride. And sometimes it's slow, and sometimes it is wild and crazy. And each day takes on a life of its own as the river of life carries us forward. And that's life, isn't it? You launch your tube into the river, and the river takes you, and like Joseph, it goes where it will go, and the future is not ours to control. Because only hindsight is 20/20. For a period life seemed to settle down for Joseph. Now he's the favorite son of his father. Dysfunctional family, right? Played favorites, and his father doted on Joseph. And so for Joseph, life was good. At this point, he was a remarkable child. He had big dreams of the future, great dreams. And Jacob, his father gave him this multicolored coat. It must have been an exquisite garment. It was the envy of all of his brothers. The truth is that Jacob probably spoiled Joseph. So much so that his brothers came to despise him, to hate the very sight of him. One day, his brothers saw him coming from the distance, and they put their heads together and conspired to get rid of this brother of theirs. And so they sold him. They actually sold him into a slavery caravan, a passing caravan of Midianites who were on the trade route down into Egypt. He ended up working in the home of a wealthy Egyptian official. He excelled in Potiphar's household, was given authority, until he was falsely accused of rape by Potiphar's wife. He was then put in prison. What happened to his dreams? He must have thought that his life was over. There's no term mentioned. This was it for Joseph. He's in prison. In prison, Joseph rises once again, and he's given authority. We see him helping a fellow prisoner who was Pharaoh's cupbearer, interpreted his dream, but when the man was released, he forgot about Joseph. And then when Pharaoh had a dream, later the cupbearer remembered Joseph. Joseph was brought out of prison and successfully interpreted the Pharaoh's dream, and then Joseph was placed in command of Egypt, second only to Pharaoh himself. You know the story. His dream, Pharaoh's dream, had warned of 7 years of famine that would follow, 7 years of plenty that would follow be followed by 7 years of famine. Joseph stored the bounty from the first 7 years so that it could be adequately distributed during the lean years. And it was in the middle of that famine that Joseph's brothers made their trek to Egypt to buy grain for their family. And they had no idea. They had no idea that the one they had sold into slavery so many years ago was now the ruler of Egypt, all of Egypt. Only hindsight is 2020. You never know how a situation is going to turn out. And that is why we should not give up. We should not give up. We should not quit when the going gets rough. We may think that this situation is horrible, and frankly speaking, it may be horrible. The circumstance that you're in may be terrible. Nobody but God knows how it will turn out in the end. And the third truth in this lesson is that God is sovereign. It is fascinating to me how much the people in this story have changed by this point. Judah, who was the very brother that suggested Joseph be sold as a slave, now in this story, not in our reading, but before our reading, offers his own life as a slave in exchange for his brother Benjamin. There's evidence in this story of a true sorrow and repentance for their past misdeeds. Their hearts have been changed. And Joseph, with so much that could have made him bitter, so much. Bruce Waltke says that from a worm's eye view, his narrative reads like a nightmare, a cacophony of outrageous excesses unjustly afflicted upon him. Unjustly. And yet, Joseph displays a faith and a generosity of forgiveness in this passage that can only come from the grace of God. And Jesus references that kind of grace in our reading from the gospel today. Joseph becomes really a precursor of the forgiveness of Christ. And overall, this story arches the sovereignty of God. The sovereignty of God. Joseph has come to recognize, and he persuades his brothers of this truth, that God is in control. That the thing you did to me, you meant for evil. But God has turned this evil into good. 3 times, Joseph makes this statement in our passage. God sent me. God sent me. God sent me. That statement is the theological center of this story. God has done it. God is able to take the maze of human brokenness and evil and all the guilt and all the pain and all the suffering and so direct it as to somehow achieve his ultimate goodness and purpose in our lives. A roller coaster of events, but each in the hand of God had a purpose. Who is to know but God? Our faith is that God can take the bad to the good. It is also that those things which seem very good to us can sometimes lead to evil. Our faith is that we should not judge. Rather, we should entrust all we have and all that we are and all that we experience into the hand of God, knowing, believing that somehow it will be okay. So Paul writes in Romans 8:28, we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose.
Amen.
So your life is in God's hands. And the future is not ours to control. Someday when we get there, hindsight will be 20/20. Maybe we'll see a little more clear. And finding God is sovereign over all of this, over all of life. So let us walk with God and trust that our life, our future is somehow held in his loving hands. Blessed be his name, now and forever. Amen.